There's a table on page 26 which consists of your balance sheet, and one of the entries on the balance sheet is under assets, central bank liquidity swaps, which shows an increase from the end of 2007 from $24 billion to $553 billion in change at the end of 2008. What's that?
Between 1980 and 2005, 80% of all new income created in this country went to the top 1%.
That the federal government was screwed out of $78 billion.
Look at this hockey stick. This is the hockey stick that Al Gore was talking about with the, the woolly mammoth coming back or whatever the hell he's talking about. Here's where we were in September last year. But then the Treasury decided we need to start printing more money. This hockey stick should take your breath away. This is devaluing our money. Al Gore said global warming is not a political issue, it's a moral one. Thomas Jefferson said doing this to our children is immoral, and I agree with him. We have pumped all of this money in and devalued our money. How is it not going to be worthless? This has never, ever been done by anybody ever before.
The GAO is auditing not only the operational aspects of our programs and the details of the programs, but is making judgments about our policy decisions that would effectively be a takeover of monetary policy by the Congress, a repudiation of the independence of the Federal Reserve, which would be highly destructive to the stability of the financial system, the dollar, and our national economic situation.
The banks have shown that they can't be trusted with the American economy. That's generally been the case, but now it's out in the open, $350 billion later.
Who'd you lend the money to? What were the terms of those loans? How can my constituents in Vermont get some of that money? Who makes the decisions? Do you guys sit around in a room? Do you make it? Are there conflicts of interest? So my question to you is, will you tell the American people to whom you lent $2.2 trillion of their dollars? Will you tell us who got that money and what the terms are of those agreements?
No. Well, look at the next page. The very next page has the U.S. dollar nominal exchange rate, which shows a 20% increase in the U.S. dollar nominal exchange rate at exactly the same time that you were handing out $500 billion. Do you think that's a coincidence?
Yes.
All right. Well, the Constitution says no money shall be drawn from the Treasury but in consequence of appropriations made by law.
This money is not drawn from the Treasury.
Well, let's talk about that. Do you think it's consistent with the spirit of that provision in the Constitution for a group like the FMOC to hand out $500 billion to foreigners without any action by this Congress?
Congress approved it in the Federal Reserve Act.
When was that?
Quite a long time ago. I don't know the exact date.
In 1913, the money power of the country was taken away from the people. By constitutional privilege, it belongs with the Congress, but it was given up in the Federal Reserve Act.
But the Federal Reserve Act was in 1913.
All right, and at that time, the entire gross national product of this country was well under $500 billion, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Is it safe to say that nobody in 1913 contemplated that your small little group of people would decide to hand out $500 billion to foreigners?
This particular authority has been used numerous times over the years.
Well, actually, according to the chart on page 28, virtually the entire amount that's reflected in your current balance sheet went out starting in the last quarter of 2007. And before that, going back to the beginning of this chart, the amount of lending was zero.
The Federal Reserve is no more federal than Federal Express, but yet it has the power to determine the direction of use of money in our economy. If we could take that power back and put the Federal Reserve under Treasury, we start to be in a position of being able to control monetary policy on behalf of the United States people. We also have to address the issue of the fractional reserve system, which is how banks create money out of thin air. And then as they do that, they've created the conditions where we've had this kind of Ponzi scheme collapsing.
Even with surprises and global events, Yellen is sure to continue her evidence-based approach to policy and keep calm and carry on.
Some slack in labor markets remains, and the effects of this labor slack and the influence some labor market, some slack remains of labor markets, and the effect of this slack and the influence of lower energy prices and past dollar appreciation have been significant factors keeping inflation below our goal. But I expect that inflation will return and influence of lower energy prices and inflation lower goal. I expect this to occur as the temporary factors that are currently weighing on inflation wane, provided that economic growth continues to be strong enough to complete the return of the economy to full employment and
قائدنا معمر القدافي بنقولوا لك يا قائد صامدين معاك صامدين لاخر قطره دم تفتح القطره في باب العزيزيه ضد الناتو ضد بوشنا ضد مجلس العام المجلس الانتقامي ضد اوباما ضد ساركوزي go to hell Obama we're not afraid from you we're not afraid we are with Muammar Gaddafi this is the Libyan people not you this is the Libyan people all the Libyan people with Muammar Gaddafi our leader we will not let him go and he will not go. There's no revolution after Muammar Gaddafi revolution. There's no revolution. وبنقول لمعمر احنا صامدين معاك. أوباما مش خايفين منا ولا خايفين من ناسه. Go to hell.
To return to full employment and long-run expectations remain well anchored. For most FOMC participants, including myself, We currently anticipate that achieving these conditions will likely entail an increase in the federal funds rate later this year, followed by a gradual pace of tightening thereafter. But if the economy surprises us, our judgment's about appropriate. Excuse me. Monetary policy will, of course, change. So let me stop there. Thank you.
Oh my God!
Oh my Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! I told you!
We had a currency for many parts of our history without any federal debt.
When was that?
Under the Jackson administration.
So this was before the Civil War. This was
Right.
this was during the period of where individual banks issued currency. We didn't have a national currency.
I just might say that it's possible for a country to have a currency without a $1 trillion debt.
Yes.
Every day I would wake up with this feeling like I need to be in New York.
No! No, you don't!